All right, another week of option trading, cash accrued puts and cover calls. So once a week, we like to share our trades for the week, how much we made, and in a way, try to encourage others to think outside the box a little bit when it comes to investing and retirement income and some different things. Selling options has been a great way to supplement our income in our early retirement years here. And I sort of treat it like a part-time job. So I spend about an hour a day in the morning when the market opens. I actually look at it before the market opens and get an idea of what I want to do when the market opens. And the overseas market has been trading already. So I kind of have an idea what's going to happen when the market opens. So I have an idea like if I'm going to close some trades or open some trades or whatever. And the market opens, I usually wait a little bit unless there's something real exciting I want to get done right away. And I may sell cover call or cash accrued put, or I might close a couple trades. And I do that for about an hour. And then I go about my day, my normal stuff. And then occasionally I'll check in during the day. If I wrap up what I'm doing during the day and get back in the house before 3 o'clock Central Time, I'll jump on and see if there's anything exciting that might have happened. And today was an example of that. I closed several trades toward the end of the day today. Fridays, I kind of do that more often, but those are just some gory details of what I do. So you didn't jump in to hear all that, but I think the hour a day is probably of interest to people when they ask how much time I spend on this. And I spend a little bit less time than what I used to because I spend a lot of time like doubting myself, maybe getting a routine down, perhaps kind of watching this more than what I needed to, especially when I started using more money than what I did maybe a couple years ago when I was doing this kind of like more of a hobby. It's still kind of a hobby, but now it's actually creating income. I'm treating it more like a job than a hobby. So anyhow, if you like what I've said so far, go ahead and subscribe. If you find this boring so far, I suggest that you subscribe. And this is not financial advice. I'm just sharing what I'm doing, giving people ideas, and some ideas might be good, some ideas might be bad. It's up for you to decide which is which. And real quickly, the money I use for my option trading represents about 10% of our total buckets of money. The money we generate here goes over to here to our cash and living expense bucket. And then we also have income fund bucket money. A little bit of that comes over here to cash living expense. And also some pension money goes in there. That's what we pay our bills from. We have this growth bucket here that's about 2/3 of our total pile of money. And we have not touched that. In fact, this keeps growing and is probably maybe more than 65%. But these are growing too, so maybe it's still 65%. Either way, we're doing okay. Okay, let's jump in here to our option tracking spreadsheet or my option tracking spreadsheet. And I'll highlight this right here. These are all the trades I closed this week, and I closed quite a few. You look at yesterday, I closed about 5, and then today I closed about 5. So busy couple days. And for the week, we made $2,660. So that's pretty good. That's about what I was doing a few months ago. I was doing about $10,000 a month. So probably averaging about 25 to 3,000 bucks per month. And a lot of that was from the NVIDIA double leverage. I was really doing well on that. Maybe a third of my money was from that one cash I could put. I was doing over and over each week. And we'll just jump into it so you can see. Where'd my NVDL go here? So I have only one here of NVDL, but I also have another one down here, different strike price for NVDL. And you can see the premium on those are pretty good. If I pop a 0 in here, if this goes to 0, just see I'll make $206, but I close these early usually. So that's what I was doing. So let's see what we did this week. Anything exciting? So the one thing that might not be too exciting, I had a cover call on Robinhood and the price dipped down and I went ahead and closed that trade and made $114. Like, hooray for me, right? So then I got a little greedy. I did another cover call and I was feeling a little bit cautious. So I raised the strike price to 85 and did a couple contracts here. And thinking all is fine and dandy. So my thought process here, my basis is 99. So normally I don't do a cover call less than what my basis is. So in a perfect world, my cover call would have been like at a 100 strike price. However, there's no premium to be had at that price. So I had to go 85. And Robinhood's just been kind of going sideways and down and sideways and down and up a little bit. And so what happens? I really don't know what happens, but today it went up like 11%. So it's at 94. So what does that mean? Well, that means on June 12th, if I still have this cover call, which I probably will, if the price is above 85, I will have to sell my 200 shares of Robinhood for $85 a share, even if it's trading at 95. So I shouldn't have done that, but it is what it is. And then to make matters worse, I have another one down here for 3 contracts. So the reason I have 2 separate things here is because they're different accounts. I have an IRA here, and then we have a IRA here, but this is a Roth IRA and this is traditional. So I'm trading out of 3 different accounts. That's what these letters are over here. They represent which account I'm trading out of. The JT is our taxable account, and that has some margin on it actually, and I'll talk about that in a second. Anyhow, some other things is BBAI had a cover call on that at 450, and all of a sudden that decided it wanted to like take off. It's at 504 right now. So I have 10 contracts on that. My basis is 442. So that'd be okay if I sell it for 450. I made a profit, and plus I'll make money on this cover call, but I could have made more if I would have went with a $5 strike price instead of 450. Meta, I made a whole bunch of money on Meta this week. Let's see. We had one here, $267, a cash secured put. Then we had another one down here, another $261. So over $500 on Meta on those 2. And we'll just go on the list here. So TSLL had a cash secured put on that, a 13 strike price. And TSLL had shot up the past few days up to over 16 for a while. American Airlines, I had a cash secured put on this one. So I shared a couple of videos of trading American Airlines or selling cash secured puts with American Airlines, and I got some comments how stupid I was for doing that. And I ignore most comments like that. I don't ignore them. I read them and think, okay, well, maybe they know more than me. But then how American Airlines went up over 15, and so I closed that early, made $75, and then I had cover call on SoFi. So SoFi is another one that is irritating me. Let's see, I got a cover call here at 20. And if I click on this and look at SoFi is at 1822. So I'm not going to lose those shares, but I think I got another one on SoFi at 18. Maybe I don't. I do have a cash secured put at 1550. And you know what? I closed that today and I forgot to update this. So my profit is going to be more than what I'm saying. Okay, I actually paused it. I jumped in my Fidelity account and I did close that early. So made $88 there. Today was the 29th and I did a buy to close. And I don't know exactly what the price was when I closed it. I'm just going to say 1822. And that's not important information. It's just for future reference. So I'll click here and I'll do a data and sort by the close date. So let's check this out now. So 2748 we made. So I don't know why I forgot that one. And glancing down, I don't know if I forgot any more or not. I'll figure it out later. So anywho, let's see what else we got here. Something I talked about a few weeks ago. I did a cash secured put on TQQQ with the expiration date all the way out to September. And I did a 30 strike price, and TQQQ is trading like at 80 something right now, 84. And when I did that, it was trading at 60. So it's gone up $24 since then. At the time, the delta was 0.06. So my thought process was that I don't think TQQQ is going to go to 30 ever again. Of course, that's my opinion, and I've been wrong before. And I went way out by September, and I'm thinking, okay, so if TQQ just goes sideways for the next several months, this will increase in value. I'll make money just because of time. Now, the thing is, This one here I did on margin. So this money is not even my money. And with margin used as collateral, you don't pay interest on that collateral unless you actually get a sign. So in a way, Fidelity's let me use this money, this $9,000 collateral. I'm not paying any interest on it or anything. It's just sitting there in case I do need it if I get a sign. And so I went out in September. Basically, I made $219 on money that's not mine and didn't pay any interest on it. And so it shows that I got a 2.43% return on that money. And it's actually better than that because my money that I put up was actually zero. So it's like an infinite amount of return, if that makes sense. So it's hard to explain. Now, I also have done that on yen also. So I have yen here, cash card put at 25 in July. And that one there is on margin also. And then I did another one, TQQ today, all the way out in December at a $40 strike price, 3 contracts, and the premium is $255. So if that goes to zero, I'll make $765 on that. Now I have to wait until December. Let's say December 1st. I hold it till then, I close it. Now, if you look at this, it'll say that I made a 12% annual return, a 6% return on my investment or whatever. And once again, this is on margin. So this would be like a infinite amount of return. It's like I'm getting a return on money that I'm not even paying any interest on. It's not my money, if that makes sense. So now people might be squirming and can't wait to type something saying that's stupid or whatever, but I've done this before. It's fine. If I get a sign TQQQ at $40 and have to pay any money on margin, and actually I have quite a bit of cash in this account, so it wouldn't actually go toward margin, it'd come out of my cash, would cover that. So I'm looking at I'd be fine. So don't worry about me. I'm a big kid. I'll do okay. So let's see what else we got here. We have an Uber cash secured put that expires June. Now that one I'm watching because Uber is just a little bit less than that. So I don't want to get a sign that, but if I do, it's fine. $72 is a decent price. And then I have another TQQQ, September 18th, $40 strike price. And once again, it's trading at twice that right now. And when I did that, the delta was 0.06. So if you look at these deltas, a lot of these I've been very, very conservative, kind of watching things, except for this Meta, this Facebook one here, I did at 25 for some reason. That might be a mistake, 0.54. That's probably 0.34 or 24. I have to go back and double check that. Let's look at a couple new ones I did. I did this Palantir one. I ended up closing that. That was the first time I traded this one. Ended up making almost $300 on that one. I did this Dow Jones triple leverage one. I closed that early. I had a delta 0.21. I made $80 on that one, but it was only one contract because I had never traded this one before, and I was just trying it out to see how it would do. So it did okay. I'm happy. And this DRAM, that was one that I did for the first time. I did 2 contracts, 50 strike price. So it was 52 when I sold the contract, ended up at 62. So I closed it early, made 154. Are there any other ones that are brand new here? No. However, I think I did a different one that is new here somewhere. Or maybe this NASA here. This is a new one. And I mean, it's a new ETF. It hasn't been around very long. So I did 2 cash secured puts at 35 strike price, and it was trading at 40 when I did that. And let's see what it's trading at now. I added it to my watch list. It's a new one. It's trading at 40, and so let's see, $40.17. So it's down a little bit, but it can be down. It can go down all the way to 35 before I have to really worry. So as long as it's above 35 on June 18th, it will expire, and then this entire amount here would be mine to keep. So $352. That's a pretty good premium there. So yeah, as long as it stays above 35, I'll be fine. And I'm looking to see if there's anything else exciting going on. I talked about the hood, SoFi, maybe sign that. So one more, Carnival Cruise Line. So Carnival Cruise Line, I'm basically been wheeling that. Wheeling meaning I did cash secured put, I got a sign, I did a cover call, getting them taken away from me right up here. So it says a sign right here. And then, so now I got cash again. I'll wait for a little bit of a dip. Actually, I did a cash secured put here, and that's this account, and that's up here. So these are two separate accounts. But anyhow, I've basically been doing a wheel with Carnival Cruise Line. It kind of trades in a range, just kind of goes sideways. I just popped up the chart here, and I said kind of go sideways. Well, maybe not, but kind of. So since about middle of March, it's kind of been trading between 24 and upwards to about 29. So like a $5 range, and you see the moving averages are kind of going sideways a little bit. So I've been doing cash secured puts and cover calls on Carnival in here and making pretty decent premiums. Actually, not too bad. It's 174 there, and up here was only 66, but up here it was 162. So we're not talking about a lot of money, $7,800 in collateral. So if you annualize that, it's like maybe a 30% return, which is right about my goal for annual return for this account. So my goal for this account is to earn about 2.5% a month, which is like 30% per year. And that 2.5% will give me about $5,000 per month on average. So, and I'm okay with that. And speaking of monthly, let's look at one more thing. So since this is the end of June or the end of May, we'll go back here to May 1st so right here, May 4th is when I closed my first trade for the month. So we'll highlight everything from June, from May 4th down here until today. And if I look down here, we made $7,759 for the month. That's $2,200 more than my goal of $5,000. So doing pretty good. That's almost a 4% return for the month, which is, like I said, pretty good. And we'll look at one more thing here before we go. I'll pop a 0 in here and I'll drag that down, that formula. And if I highlight all these here, that's $5,000 in trades that are currently sitting out there open and not yet closed. So if I let all these expire, go to 0, I will make another $5,050 here. So, but I usually close them early and I'll make other trades. So it'll still probably be like 5,000, just not exactly the way you see it here. That's it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. And this is not financial advice, and we'll see you in the next video.